You and I were not there. It's very sad, but we both had boots on the ground. We had our teams there. Our head of our testing performance, Ryan Schrout, was there. Olivia Blanchard was there. Do you have anyone else on your team there?
I just said Anshul.
Anshul Sag was there. So we had, not just Anshul, it's Anshul. We had a number of our team there. And look, this was an interesting moment for Qualcomm because, first of all, I think it was sort of the victory lap moment from the last two, 21, 19, where they really kind of came out and said, we're going to diversify from handsets. We're going to diversify from this licensing business after they had solved all these different legal battles on felt like 1,000 different fronts. They're going to never be in a position where they were hyper dependent on that one part of the business again. And that, under Cristiano Amon's leadership as CEO, been something the company's been very, very focused on. Now, what's interesting is that I thought the presentation and what they said was kind of like, yeah, we did it. It was like when George Bush on the ship, like job done or whatever, George W., right? But the market was sort of mixed. The market responded somewhat sour to it. And I was trying to kind of think through why that might be. Sometimes it's just the market in any given day. Sometimes it's the presentation. But overall, the company I still think did the job. They were able to show that they have a huge addressable market, almost $1 trillion TAM. They're kind of being in all things connected at the edge was sort of confirmed. So, there's a 50 billion connected edge shipments that they're expecting over the next 6 years. The financial targets, Pat, the revenue now of their diversified businesses of automotive and IoT combined 22 billion. Now, I want to be clear. IoT, the way Qualcomm describes it, is not really maybe IoT as you and I would describe it, but it's basically all the different things that do connect at the edge that aren't handsets. So you do have the industrial IoT business, which they anticipate could reach $14 billion by the end of the decade. Automotive, which they have this $45 to $50 billion pipeline that they've developed. They're estimating about $8 billion of revenue by the end of the decade. The PC number, Pat, was sort of interesting. The PC number came on at $4 billion towards the end of the decade. I think both of us, you are me. Anyways, both of us did feel that was very conservative, and maybe that's on purpose, knowing that there's still a lot to be learned in terms of winning PC. But given they have had a very promising quality product in market now, and we've seen some pretty good. I'm on one of their devices actually right now. It seems like that opportunity might have been bigger. And then, of course, XR still looks to be a fairly small business, but something that the company tends to really be in. I'm going to give a little bit of oxygen to you here, Pat, because there's a bunch of other things I could lay into. Last thought I'll basically say is I do think data center is a bit of a mystery. They kind of have that Cloud AI 100 part. It feels to me that especially with edge data center, edge sort of high performing, low power consuming products that could sort of scan the inference play out to the edge is an area that I believe that Qualcomm very likely could get into more. And I think that's a bigger opportunity with its kind of provenance and its engineering prowess.
Dan, it's hard for me to just fill in the blanks because I feel like I've got to give we started late. I mean, we're on our, one, two, three, we're on the fourth topic and we're 34 minutes in. So I'm not going to rush this. So first and foremost, I think the company did a really good job. Here's what we said we were going to do, and we did it. And then they laid out a technology and IP portfolio that you have to be impressed with. I still have to get through hey, we're doing custom silicon for specific platforms, but we can afford to do that part. Okay. I really want to get underneath the leverage, but they really did a great job in that. And to me, the vision makes sense. Like the markets they're getting into totally makes sense, given to me their history, their intellectual property prowess, and then you have this AI overlay. And about 5 years ago, I was really questioning could the company, what could they do with AI? To their credit, they stepped up, hired some pretty incredible people, leveraged into it, and then essentially have an AI platform, which for phones and for PCs and all the platforms and all the markets they're in, people can leverage. And that's just really, really smart. On the flip side, I did get some feedback from some sell side folks. Literally, the TAM number is ridiculous. And it was large. It was $900 billion. I don't know what is included in that. I do want to figure that out, just like you and I have picked apart Intels and AMDs, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's important that we know what is underneath that TAM. I think the way the market reacted, you had a 2029 view, which is important, but a lot of the investors that we talk to, they only care about 18 months, right? So, how do you make that connection? I think investors just weren't confident in the run up in the run up to it. I think they may have been looking for a bigger automotive number out there. Final comment is let's talk about PCs for a second. Their number was $4 billion in 2029. Just to give you a sense, third quarter from AMD was around $2 billion. And the last quarter inside of Intel, I think, was 7.4 billion. So yeah, it's around 10% revenue share, plus or minus a couple points. And I think that's conservative. It's a cutthroat market, but I do believe that number is conservative, and they can probably do more.